The first merino sheep arrived at the Cape in 1789, and the sheep and wool industry on a commercial basis was soon established. During the whole of its colonial period, the Cape Province remained the most important wool producing area in southern Africa, and although the sheep industry subsequently spread rapidly throughout virtually the whole of the country, Cape wool has become the international generic trade term for all wool producers on the subcontinent. Lots has happened since, and our international footprint has been established. Dion Simon from Cape Wool South Africa brings us up to date.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. And from our side, from Cape Wool as an industry body, obviously, traceability is key for us as an industry and as an industry body, and where we want to position ourselves. So today, I just want to talk a little bit and give you some background on what we're doing in the industry, both as refers back to traceability as well as blockchain. Now, a lot of people will say, and when we talk about blockchain, they immediately get this block on their face and this expression on their face on what is blockchain. But it is an incredible tool that we as commodities can use to position ourselves. And I want to go back to legislation that is pending in Europe. Now, everybody probably would have heard about the EU Green Deal, and there's a whole lot of legislation that accompanies that. One specifically is something called PEF, the Product Environmental Footprint, and the other one is the DPP, or the Digital Product Passport, sorry. And what we're currently trying to do is position ourselves to feed into that legislation that is coming up in the EU. Now, going back to us as an industry body, and I think it's quite unique in the world for us as a wool industry to have one body representing the entire industry. And that puts us in a really good position because we issue producer numbers to farmers, and we can track the flow of that wool throughout the value chain. So we're also busy at the moment trying to implement a shearing app, which will take that traceability right back to the shearing shed. But for us, we know when the wool comes into the store, we know when it's auctioned, we know when it is shipped. So for us, it is fairly easy, and I say easy, but it's never really easy, but easy to keep track of wool going through the pipeline and at this point in time up to export. And we had to look at how do we actually do this or take it beyond the point of export. And we said we need to implement a blockchain for us as an industry. And because we hold all the information, we can do it from an industry perspective. So we've built a blockchain on the Ethereum platform. And the most important thing about a blockchain is obviously that it is interoperable with any other blockchain across the globe. So if a brand uses their own blockchain, we can actually use it and with an API just directly linked into their system. And what we further said was that we want to use a standard that can give us traceability right through to the end consumer. Now, here's something called GS1. And we're going to use the methodology from GS1, or that GS1 stipulates. And a lot of people might not know what GS1 is. If you go to the supermarket and you buy any product that's got a barcode on, that is GS1. It's been in existence for 50 years, and it's already in use in 110 countries across the globe. So it is something that is currently being used. It's been tried and tested. And they are rolling out something called EPSIS 2, which will give you the parameters for every transaction in the value chain, how that needs to look, the what, the when, the why, the how. And once we've got that, we can then say, okay, we can build our blockchain further into rolling it out to the end consumer. And what's key for us and where it starts is with the farmer. To give what we call a GLN number to the farm, that's a global location number, because every country uses something different to identify a farmer. They give a different producer number. In Australia, they call it a PIC number. A GLN number is a global number issued by GS1 that is recognizable across the globe. And you can actually say to a brand, this is where this farmer is situated. We've vouched for him. We've verified him. We don't need to make his identity available. we know who he is, and on the GS1 system, which is a global system, that farmer has been registered. So that's the point we're trying to get to actually the position the farmers. So we're quite advanced in our blockchain. We're almost ready to roll it out completely. We are currently working on the second phase to get the link from the point of export to the final brand. And that's what we really want to do. If that consumer scans the QR code on his garment, he can actually get a traceability picture of where the wool comes from and how it is produced. That's what we want to achieve. And that feeds in directly into the digital product passport and the requirements that the EU Parliament is trying to put in place at the moment. So it's not something to be afraid of. It's not this big monster. It is really something, if you use it correctly, that can really be to the advantage of the industry. So we've still got a long road to go. We're going to require farmers to actually claim their actual farm online on our platform, but it's a process. And it's a process we want brands to know about, because at the end of the day, brands want trustworthiness and transparency in their raw material supply chain. That's what they want. And if we can provide that to the brands, that will make South Africa the raw material origin of choice for the brands and the big fashion houses.